Gentlemen, to introduce our speaker today, Mr. Cushenberry.
I'm honored to introduce Harrison Raby this morning. The opportunity to interact with Harrison on the soccer field, in the classroom, and in the dorm opened my eyes to the beauty and complexity of his character. Harrison is a fine goalkeeper, an honors scholar, and a fantastic RA. Harrison serves in the community kitchen, is active in his youth group, and will volunteer his time and experience as an assistant coach this year with the middle school soccer program. Calling Harrison a model McCallie man, though certainly accurate, doesn't paint the full picture. Harrison never makes his bed. On weeks when I do dorm inspection, I make his bed every Monday, hoping that he'll appreciate the gesture and make it the following mornings. He never does. Harrison possesses both an old soul and a youthful innocence. Therefore, crass humor is fortunately routinely avoided. So, Harrison often tells corny jokes, knowing full well they're corny. But what I love about Harrison is that he knows exactly who he is, where he's going, and he's happy with that. He has no pretense. In a word, Harrison is genuine. So please give your attention this morning as he talks to you about being a man. The way he cares for his friends and serves others gives him credibility. The honesty with which he faces his own strengths and weaknesses gives him perspective. His modeling of honor, truth, and duty demonstrates that he is not just talking the talk, but walking the walk. I'm proud to call him a friend. I hope you'll sit back and truly enjoy the wisdom of a life well lived and probably the simple joy of some corny jokes. Please join me in welcoming Harrison Raby.
Good morning, gentlemen. If I could have your attention, we'll get started today. Sorry to steal your line, Dietrich. I've just always wanted to say that in chapel. Seriously, though, thank you all so much for being here, especially my guests. I'm really honored to have y'all share this moment with me. When I was thinking about what I was going to talk to y'all about today, I really wanted to be original and unique. So I thought about talking about brotherhood, helping others, how I've changed since I was a freshman, and of course, not taking my time at McCallie for granted. But I didn't want to be too radical, so I thought I'd play it safe. When I was thinking about other ideas, I kept coming back to the same theme that led me to McCallie in the first place, the idea of the McCallie man. I've heard a lot of people talk about the McCallie aspect of this, and how our time here shapes us and makes us who we are. But I believe that sometimes we neglect what it truly means to be a man. Not to say that this institution itself neglects this, but sometimes I feel like as students, we don't focus our eyes on what being a man is all about. Today, I'd really like to focus on what manhood is and how I've come to understand it and what it means to be a man during my time at this school. When I came to McCallie my sophomore year, I thought I knew exactly what this place was all about. My dad and brother are both alumni, and through them, and after 6 years of McCallie sports camp, I had foolishly deduced that I would be the perfect candidate for such a place, and that 3 years of McCallie would be all I needed to become exactly the person I wanted to be. When I got here, I found quickly that it wasn't going to be this easy. I really did enjoy my first semester at McCallie, and I could tell that it was where I needed to be. However, my first two progress reports for grading periods starkly contrasted the idea I had for my McCallie career. I probably thought of myself as a pretty humble kid before this point, but it was at about this time that I really had to check my ego, and that I realized that I had a lot of growing up to do. During the second semester of that year, I grew up more than I had during any 6-month period in my entire life. Although I had good friendships at McCallie up to this point, I connected with people during that second semester at a spiritual level, something I had never really done before this point. with hardly anyone. Partially through these friends, I became involved with the youth group at Lookout Mountain Presbyterian Church and became more involved with student vestry and FCA here at McCallie. Through all of this, I grew leaps and bounds in my relationship with Jesus Christ. I'd been a Christian my entire life, but it was during the winter and spring of that year that I first experienced Christian community, accepted my brokenness, and really gave my life over to the Lord. Did my grades go up that semester? No, they actually got a little bit worse. However, I was able to accept this because my sense of worth was no longer attached to my accomplishments, which is why those months were some of the most important of my entire life. The book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 48 reads, "Be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father which is in heaven is perfect." Through my faith journey, especially the last 3 years of it, I've realized that during my time on this earth, I will never be the man Christ has called me to be. Through my knowledge of Christian theology, I know that I'm hopelessly broken by sin and cannot escape this brokenness until I reach heaven. I can also just use common sense to determine that I am not the man I'm called to be. Because if I were, I wouldn't still be doing things like forgetting to set my alarm, forgetting to make my bed, procrastinating on every assignment, and zoning out during first period Spanish class because I've forgotten to take my ADD medicine that morning. Sorry about that, Mrs. Hobbs, and Lo siento, Senor Arnold. The knowledge that I will never achieve perfection on this earth and become exactly the man I've always wanted to be does not depress me at all. In fact, it is the growth that occurs within me when I learn from my mistakes that makes this life truly special. My point is that manhood is not about perfection, but rather I believe that it is defined by the knowledge of by knowing the kind of man you want to be and shaping your words and your actions so that they might be consistent with that man. A wise man once told me that we should strive to have the wisdom to know what is right and the courage and strength to do it. To me, this is a better measure of manhood than your bench press max, the lift on your truck, your salary, or anything else of monetary value. The teachings of Jesus Christ and his disciples dictate the man I strive to be. 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 21 reads, "For even hereunto were ye called, because Christ also suffered for us, leaving us an example, that ye should follow in his steps." To me, Jesus Christ's life is a perfect example of how a Christian man should live. I hope that as I mature, I will be man enough to allow Jesus Christ to mold me into the man that I am called to be. In no way does my idea of manhood apply solely to Christians, though. One might define their idea of manhood based on their ideas, the ideals held by their country, their family, their school, or anything else in their life. I do feel, though, that there are some basic values and traits that any man should possess. This, I believe, is where McCallie comes into play. As someone who aspires to be a McCallie man, I believe that honor, truth, and duty are essential to manhood. And I try to go through each day with the chief end of glorifying God and enjoying him forever. The McCallie man is created by a collection of people with different values and gifts who come together and influence each other in a positive way that instills each of us with the core values for which McCallie is known. I strive to live each day with the goal of being this McCallie man, albeit a flawed one. Seeing the selflessness shown by Mr. LaSword, the leadership and willingness to do the right thing, even when it's not the popular thing, shown by Dean Scholl, and the work ethic and commitment to his job shown by Coach Cush, have undoubtedly rubbed off on me. And I hope to take what I've learned here about manhood with me for the rest of my life. Guys, I challenge you to figure out what kind of man you want to be, and to take advantage of your time at McCallie and on this earth to work towards becoming that man. Above all else, though, I hope that you will make it a priority to grow throughout your life. Because the willingness and desire to change and to grow is what manhood is all about. Thank you guys so much.